Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another set of, yes, Jean-Claude Van Damme movie reviews. This time we're going to be talking about three of them, being Nowhere to Run from 1993, as well as Double Team, which was released in 1997, and finally The Shepherd Border Patrol, which came out in 2008. Kicking things off with talking about Nowhere to Run. Like I said, this came out in 1993 and obviously stars JCVD. He's an escaped convict, Sam Gillen, who single-handedly takes on ruthless developers determined to evict Claudie, a widow with two young children. Nobody knows who Sam is. Yeah, I guess that's the premise that you can read off of IMDb. I feel like I could write a better one than that. But instead of going over to Google and reading off whatever they have typed out there, let's talk about the movie then. Nowhere to Run was one I was anticipating watching for a while out of, just going through and exploring this whole Van Damme catalog that I've been doing these past few months. Nowhere to Run is actually my dad's favorite Van Damme movie, apparently, although he hasn't seen as much as he and my brother, or as much as my brother and I have at this point. But Nowhere to Run, I think, was a pretty accessible film. I mean, it's not a fighting tournament movie. It's not focused on martial arts necessarily or anything like that. In fact, Van Damme doesn't really do anything too complex as far as that goes in the movie. It's a bit more character-based than usual of both its character focus and its premise. Now this movie did have some behind-the-scenes issues, apparently, which happened, with a handful of Van Damme movies, especially in the 90s, it seems. But yeah, Van Damme and the writer apparently had some disagreements. Van Damme eventually went in and edited certain things, and the writer basically, just owned it, sometime after that, which is unfortunate. I guess originally it was going to be even more drama-based than it was originally, even more drama-based than it actually came out to be. But of course, Van Damme, being the star he is, probably wanted a bit more show off in the movie, for people going to see him, right? So, it is what it is. It's kind of one of those situations, you can't really make a judgment 100% either way, because, none of us worked with them. But Nowhere to Run, to me, I did really like it. It definitely stands out from, a pack of other Van Damme films, I believe. Van Damme gives a pretty good performance in this, and in both this and, like, a movie like Lionheart, Van Damme seems to click really well when he's in sort of like that father figure sort of sympathy role with either a widow or a family close to him or something like that, and it shines through here. We have Rosanna Arquette playing the widow here, who eventually develops feelings, with Van Damme's character Sam in the movie. Apparently she, according to IMDb anyway, she didn't really enjoy working with Van Damme. She apparently stated that she only took the role because good parts were far and few between, which is, again, unfortunate because it came out pretty good, actually. I did like Rosanna Arquette's performance in the movie. I thought her and Jean-Claude had some, fairly sweet scenes, which had, a fair amount of chemistry to it. I didn't really mind. It didn't feel like a forced love plot at all. And they never really go too, sort of not raunchy, but they don't really go too overboard with it either. It feels natural and it happens. I mean, you know it's coming. Like I said, there's not much in the way of martial arts in the movie. There is Van Damme taking down quite a few guys, but you know, it doesn't go to, oh hey, look, we're a martial arts kung fu movie or anything like that. You know, it tries to be a little more grounded on that end, I think, even though there are, you know, scenes like that sprinkled throughout. You know, the villains aren't that threatening, you know, again, like corrupt real estate developers, so you could attribute that as a weakness to the film. But again, it was a film more driven by the premise, not necessarily Van Damme being able to fight and take down someone, so it is a bit different. And I did really like Nowhere to Run. I have it in a set right now. It's definitely one I could see myself eventually buying separately on Blu-ray at some point. But for now, it's actually really nice to have in a set with The Order, which is a movie I'm going to watch and review within the next couple weeks for sure. But yeah, so if I had to rate Nowhere to Run, I'd give it about an 84-85%, you know, solid B. I did really like it. And now, moving on to Double Team, which for some reason had the smallest picture in my thumbnail image. I wonder why. But yeah, Double Team. It came out in 1997, and of course stars Van Damme along with Dennis Rodman and Mickey Rourke. And it's about an international spy who teams up with an arms dealer to escape a penal colony and rescue his family from a terrorist. Again, with those amazing IMDb synopsis there. But yeah, yes, Dennis Rodman co-stars with Van Damme in this movie, making it stand out for one reason or another. Mickey Rourke, I will say, just right off the bat, he makes a pretty good bad guy. I wouldn't say he's as good as like Lance Henriksen's character in Hard Target, but he has sort of a way about him, a presence, and sort of like a, I don't know if I want to say suaveness or anything like that, but just something that he brings that makes him a cut or two above your typical Van Damme movie bad guy, I think. Van Damme and Rodman are fine together. I mean, if Rodman was in the movie, I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. There's also this tiger featured throughout, you know, if there's some intense bits there, I guess. It is a bit more, you know, sort of sci-fi or, you know, spy-based, and I don't know, it's not my favorite genre for Van Damme to be in. I didn't really care for all the big, like, you know, technological aspects of the movie or, like, the bombs or anything like that. I don't know, it just felt a bit too, like it was trying a bit too hard to be, you know, sort of like a Van Damme James Bond movie or something. I don't know, not exactly. It's late, it's almost 3 in the morning, so it got me some slack, but I don't know, something about the style didn't quite mesh with, you know, my usual enjoyment of a Van Damme movie. Now, it's not too bad. There are some decent chase sequences, and Van Damme doesn't give a bad performance, of course. It's just one of probably my least favorites of his with all the ones I've watched. I have it in a set with a couple other movies, so it's not one that I really, you know, have to regret owning or anything like that. Just personally one of my least favorites of his. Not a whole lot more to say about it. But yeah, then on to the Shepherd Border Patrol, which I actually just got done watching and honestly liked quite a bit. I'm honestly debating which I liked more between Nowhere to Run and The Shepherd. The Shepherd, of course, came out in 2008 and tells the story of a former New Orleans cop who battles drug cartels and ex-Army Special Forces who are smuggling drugs from Mexico into the U.S. through a Texas border town. And now Van Damme's character in this, Jack, he carries this rabbit, Jack, with him, and we get a bit of a backstory there with Van Damme's character, which is a bit expected for the kind of story it is, but I think it worked nonetheless, and it's kind of a fun little gimmick when Van Damme first steps into the town. Something I like about this movie is that it also had a bit of a Western vibe to it, especially in the earlier part of it, which I enjoyed. And also, you have to bring up that Scott Adkins is also in this movie, who I think is the greatest action star currently in this generation. And I know growing up, Scott Adkins was a big fan of people like Van Damme and Bruce Lee and everything. And this was the first movie the two had worked on together, so that makes it pretty special as well. and Van Damme, of course, being the greatest, yes, the greatest action star of his generation, alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you just get two different animals with JCVD and Arnie. But yeah, anyway, I also do want to mention we also have Natalie J. Robb as Captain Ramona Garcia. Seems really hard-edged at first, but seems to eventually care for Van Damme's Jack character, and find out a bit more with her. And I think she actually played her with some charisma. I enjoyed seeing her on screen. I thought she delivered her lines in a fairly engaging way that I wasn't really expecting. So I enjoyed her presence there as well. Not really much to say about the villains in this movie besides Adkins, who doesn't have a major role in the film, but he does get a couple decent bits of fight scenes. And he and Van Damme's fight scene is probably by far the highlight of the film. Some pretty solid choreography there, even though this is somewhat of a later Van Damme film. There's a little more editing to it than some may like. I still think it turns out to be a pretty damn good fight. Yes, pun intended, pretty damn good fight scene. It had some grogginess to it with like different cuts, or literal cuts, that with Atkins' character's knife and everything. And they make it a bit more psychological with Van Damme sort of channeling his either voluntary or involuntary his own sort of emotions and trauma with what happened with his daughter and his family and everything, which they don't hone in on too much in the film, but just enough to get you to of course understand the character's clear motivations and such. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed The Shepherd. It went by fairly fast. Again, I sort of dug that somewhat Western vibe it had to it. And yeah, I think it's a bit of an overlooked Van Damme movie, especially these days. Van Damme actually, out of all our action stars, I've said it before, I really do think Van Damme has put out the best movies since his prime, and a lot of his current movies I actually quite enjoy, his 2000s and kind of present day type of flicks, and I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, Shepherd, if I had to rate it, I'd rate it honestly like around like an 85%, maybe 87, I'd say, so B, maybe nearing B plus, somewhere in there. And also, I never rated Double Team, did I? Honestly, not entirely sure. I mean, it's not horrendous, I just wasn't overly into it. I'm not sure if it was just the genre meshing not really working out quite well or what. So probably this wants to say 80%, but I don't know, I feel like it's going to be like around 76, 74, 73, somewhere in there. I'm not sure. It's not bad, but it's not one I'd ever go back to when I want to watch a Van Damme movie, so it is what it is. But yeah, overall, these are star films, so Van Damme's I'm always going to like just because it's Van Damme. My favorite out of the three, it's like neck and neck between Nowhere to Run and The Shepherd. Double Team is there. You see it there. But yeah, I don't know, you guys thought about all these movies, and what's your favorite? What's your 2000s Van Damme favorite? What's your sort of favorite classic Van Damme movie? Let me know what you guys thought. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.